The cedula of population of 1783 laid the foundation and growth of the population of Trinidad. The cedula of population was a 1783 edict by the representative of the King of Spain, José de Galvez, opening Trinidad to immigration, primarily from the French Caribbean islands. Negotiated by Felipe Roseroom de Saint Laurent, a key figure in Trinidad's colonial history, the edict consists of 28 articles, governing several forms of land grants to encourage population growth, naturalization of inhabitants, taxation, armament of slave owners, the duty and function of a militia to protect the island, and merchant and trade issues. The Spanish who were in possession of the island, contributed little towards advancements, and with El Dorado the focus. Trinidad was perfect due to its geographical location. French planters with their slaves, free-coloreds, and mulattoes, from neighboring islands of Martinique, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Guadeloupe, and Dominica migrated to Trinidad during the French Revolution. The Spanish also gave many incentives to lure settlers to the island, including exemption from taxes for 10 years and land grants in accordance to the terms set out in the cedula. These new immigrants establishing local communities of Blanchisseurs, Champs-Fleurs, Cascade, Carenage, and Laventille. Trinidad's population jumped to over 15,000 by the end of 1789, from just under 1,400 in 1777. In 1797, Trinidad became a British Crown colony, with a French-speaking population. This exodus from the French-controlled islands was encouraged due to the French Revolution. Though the foundation remained predominantly African. From the beginning of 1845, major influxes of indentured immigrants from India, and other parts of the world, dramatically changed the ethnic composition of the island. These indentured servants brought their own folk music, primarily from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, to the Creole mix, resulting in chutney music. In addition to Indians, Syrians, Portuguese, Chinese and Africans came to the islands in waves between 1845 and 1917, and even after. Major influxes of the French brought the Catholic ritual of Christian Shrovetide, extending from the Christmas-New Year period, that tied into pre-Lent, celebrations full of bodily freedom and hedonism. This consequently turned into the modern notion of carnival. Traditional carnival activities were derived and brought to the Trinidad from West African religious cultures and societies. Originally, carnival was a strictly for the white elite, similar to Mardi Gras, of New Orleans, and was celebrated through masquerade balls, house parties, and street parades with carriages. Middle-class people of color, and enslaved Africans were not allowed to participate in carnival activities except when slaves were performing. Instead, white upper-class society would dress up as black men and women to display carnivalesque practices and the racist notions that black men were childish and women were hypersexual. After the emancipation of slaves, in the British Americas on the 1st of August 1834, African slaves reenacted carnival by taking to the streets in celebration of their newly found freedom. This festivity associated Africans with carnivalesque practices. This was racially stigmatized at the time as savage, vulgar, and dangerous by the white elites, eventually leading to white withdrawal in participation, as well as hostile journalistic representations of carnival. This post-emancipation period allowed carnival to become an annual ceremony, demonstrating the African population's resistance against the aristocratic European social and political dominance. Thus European elites attempted to abolish and police carnival. The mass tradition started in the late 18th century, with French plantation owners organizing masquerades, shortened as mass, and balls before and during the fasting of Lent. The slaves, who could not take part in carnival, formed their own parallel celebration called canboulay. Canboulay, from the French can brûler, meaning burnt cane, is a precursor to Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, and has played an important role in the development of the music of Trinidad and Tobago. Calypso music, was developed in Trinidad in the 17th century from the West African kaiso and canboulay, music brought by African slaves, imported to that Caribbean island to work on sugar plantations. These slaves, brought to toil on sugar plantations, were stripped of all connections to their homeland and family, and not allowed to talk to each other. They used calypso, to mock their slave masters, and to communicate with each other. Many early calypsos were sung in French Creole, by an individual called a griot. As calypso developed, the role of the griot became known as a chanteul and eventually, calypsonian. The steel pan. Stick fighting, and African percussion music were banned in 1881, in response to the canboulay riots. They were replaced by bamboo tamboo sticks beaten together, which were themselves banned in turn. In 1937 they reappeared, transformed as an orchestra of frying pans, dustbin lids and oil drums. These steel pans, or pans, are now a major part of the Trinidadian music scene, and are a popular section of the canboulay music contests. In 1941, the United States Navy arrived on Trinidad, and the Panman, who were associated with lawlessness and violence, helped to popularize steel pan music among soldiers, which thus began its international popularization. Jouvert. Jouvert, translated from French as break of day, symbolizes the start of the official 2 days of Carnival. Beginning early Monday, revelers parade through the town in the tradition of the canboulay celebrations. Jouvert, as it is commonly known, features a variety of homemade or satirical costumes. This celebration involves participants dousing themselves in oil, mud and powder while they dance to calypso music through the streets. This is a stark contrast to the attractive and more formal costumes that are donned later in the day, on Carnival Monday and on Tuesday. Today, musical competitions make up a large part of formal carnival. To be named Calypso Monarch is one of the country's greatest honors, and the competition, which is called Dimanche Gras, is aired on television. Along with the honor comes an enormous trophy, a car, $1 million, approximately, and possible endorsements and other contracts. Other prestigious titles are the King and Queen of the Bands, the International Soca Monarch, both groovy and power, the Carnival Road March, and Panorama, for steel pan. For the latter, the 2011 prize was $2 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars. There are also other competitions that are involved in the Calypso Monarch. Traditionally, musicians use drums, claves, and the steel pan, created in Trinidad, and reported to be the only non-electrical instrument invented in the 20th century, that has been hammered down in different areas, to create a wide range of different notes. A group of performers practice weeks in advance on these pans to compete. Trinidad and Tobago is multicultural, Amerindian, European, African, Indian, Chinese and Middle Eastern, and all of its groups have contributed musical influences to the sounds of Carnival. These cultures have combined to create music vastly different from that of Carnival in Spain, Venice, and New Orleans. As with other carnivals, many participants wear elaborate costumes often decorated with feathers and sequins. Carnival bands are organized groups made up of participants who pay for their costumes fashioned by a designer and assembled by teams of volunteers. The costumed participants dance through the streets to the sounds of a steel band, a soca band or a DJ. This is called playing mass. A unique feature of this parade is that locals and tourists alike participate in the parade of bands. Each band is led by a king and queen, who wear extremely large costumes, often requiring extensions and wheels to assist the masquerader to carry it through the streets. Each year on Dimanche Gras, Carnival Sunday, a competition is held to award the King and Queen of Carnival the title given to two of these masqueraders. Oh, if you haven't done it as yet and new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. On Carnival Monday and Tuesday, The bands are in competition to win the Band of the Year title. Small monetary prizes are associated with these titles, though they do not cover the full amount in producing the band's music or the king's or queen's costumes. Participation occurs at all levels of society. Three-time Calypso monarch David Rudder described it as from bourgeois to grassroots. Children participate from as early as parents can get them into costume, sometime even strollers are decorated. Children can extend their fun by participating in smaller kiddies' carnival shows, competitions and parades as early as 4 weeks before the culmination of the festival. For weeks ahead, several preliminary rounds of competitions, parties or fête, take place. As Carnival is part of the national curriculum, several programs take place at schools across the country. Regional authorities handle smaller carnival celebrations in smaller towns and villages. Some of the most innovative carnival costumes came from Kiddies Carnival. Rosalind Gabriel, a 30-year veteran, and the most decorated children's band leader in the country's history, has sent her costumes to carnivals in North America and other Caribbean islands. Proving that Carnival not only has worldwide appeal to adults, but children too. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the history of the Trinidad and Tobago people and Carnival. If you still haven't done it as yet, and new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you want more videos, and I will see you next time.